It's Tuesday, my friend, so that means the hot spot is back. That happens every weekday, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, we of course bring you candidate conversations. And joining me now on the KUM couch are the two aforementioned gentlemen who want to serve you as senators in the 37th Guam legislature, of course, representing the Democrat Party of Guam, first-time candidate Alexander Duenas.
Yes.
Hafaday, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here.
All right, and Ken Leon Guerrero is someone that we've had the pleasure of interviewing several times over the years, very active in civic events and everything. So Ken, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, and congratulations to both of you gentlemen, to the teams behind you, to the people that may be, advising you, to your supporters, and to your families, because it's a very, very noble thing to do, to run for public office. So our hats off to the both of you.
Thank you.
All right, and we'd like to start with Alex, and if you want to look into that camera, we'll give you 60 seconds to tell people about yourself.
All right, so Buenas and Hafaday, Guam. My name is Alexander Duenas, and I'm running for senator. Just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Guam, and I'm the son of educators. I attended George Washington High School in 2010, and I graduated from the University of Guam in 2015 with a double degree in accounting and economics. Afterwards, I entered into private industry where I worked for the American Medical Center group of clinics as an accounting manager, and I also worked as a commercial banker for ANZ Bank. My platform is economic development as well as economic improvement, and I'm really looking forward to being here and hopefully answering some of the questions. Thank you very much.
Very well done. Obviously a numbers guy. You're accounting and economics?
Yes.
Wow. Overachiever, I would say too. Very, very well done, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, Ken Leon Guerrero, 60 seconds about you, if you please.
Well, for those of you who aren't aware of me, I'm Ken Leon Guerrero. I've been a community advocate here on the island for the past 15 years, standing up for the citizens of Guam before 3 different administrations, 5 different legislatures, and hundreds of board and commission meetings over the years, representing the people's public view. And you may have noticed I got a little thing going on right now, the voter initiative process, where we as citizens have an opportunity to create laws that the legislature has promised to pass for decades, never has. And so like Napoleon Bonaparte says, you want something done right, you do it yourself. So that's why I'm doing the voter initiatives in addition to running for the 37th Guam legislature. And I'm excited to see so many new faces running this year. It's really exciting.
A very good point. Well, Ken, congratulations to you once again. I unfortunately cannot quote Napoleon Bonaparte. I can only, tuck my hand into my vest pocket. But the two gentlemen joining us here have much more large ambitions and want to offer very viable solutions to our island in a variety of ways. So we'd like to start with you, Alex, and we'll go like inside out for the Q&A portion. So your first question is, I love how you set up the context about yourself, and we have something in common, you and I. We're both the sons of 2 lifelong educators, and yet we both majored in business. Given that, often opposing perspective and everything, but that broad reach, how do you ambition to solve like a lot of Guam's problems, given the fact that you've got, the educator side, and you were exposed to that through your parents, but then you've also got the very rigid, private sector training?
Well, thank you for the question. So the thing is that when I'm looking at Guam's issues in general, and you're right, I did come from educators, they've instilled in me the value of being able to look at a problem critically, being able to analyze it, and being able to come up with a solution that's tailored to the specific problem at hand. What business taught me, on the other hand, is that organizations as well as entities are dynamic, as well as economies and governments. So marrying the 2 concepts together of being able to be fluid, to be able to answer a question or to be able to solve an issue, while being able to look at it rigidly and be able to look at it within context, is how I would marry those two opposing fields to be able to solve some of the issues that we have within our island. Specifically, what I'm looking at is our economy.
All right, very well. Okay, now obviously every parent is proud of their son and daughters when they go to college and declare a major. But I got to ask you, since we have that shared lineage, did your parents want you to get into education?
So my parents, they did want me to go into education, but I wanted to learn more about economics in general, because that's really what I had an economics class in high school, and that's what really drove me into the field of economics. So I often say accounting is what I was more or less forced to do, and then economics is what I love.
Right.
Because economics or accounting taught me the basis, the building blocks.
Yeah, both of my parents were and are, lifelong educators. But when I said I want to major in marketing, they're like, oh, okay, you joined the dark side. Another interview for another time, certainly. All right, Ken Leon Guerrero. You've testified obviously numerous times. You're a fixture almost of public hearings on a variety of issues. Which of those would you consider yourself the most critical that face our island? And if indeed elected, how specifically do you ambition to solve these problems?
Well, obviously, the biggest challenge I've faced is what I call the moral hazard condition of politics, because too often people in government make decisions that they take no risk. So when a member of administration or a high-ranking government employee makes a decision that they would not make if they had to write the check themselves, but they are so quick to make it when the public is writing the check. And every year we see anywhere between $1 and $10 million a year in out-of-court settlements, and that's money that's taken away from education, from public health and public safety. Right now we have an underfunded police department that's lacking in equipment. We have a school system struggling to stay afloat. Our healthcare system is collapsing. But we're still paying millions of dollars a year in out-of-court settlements. That's what I'm fighting against.
Moral hazard often leads to moral panic, many would believe. So let me ask you real quick, Ken. Do you believe that a optimally performing senator, should they paint with broad strokes and try and solve a whole bunch of problems? You mentioned public safety, healthcare, education, everything, or should you focus and be more, the right tool for the right job kind of person?
No, when you set policy, you set broad policy, and then you allow the administration to carry out the policy that is set by the legislature. That's the way the system is supposed to work. I have sat in 2 and 3 hour sessions where senators are debating, voting on a bill to give $7,500 to the police department to buy 10 walkie-talkies. That is not a good use of public time, policy time. So what we need is a legislation that's going to focus on serious problems, create broad policy that the executive branch can execute. And I mean, when we're writing 400 resolutions, congratulating people on getting older, holding a job for 18 months, it's a little ridiculous.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that hopefully. Okay, Alex, your second question. You've indicated in the bio that you uploaded to KUAM.com. You guys can find out all about Alex and the rest of the candidates. Make sure to go to KUAM.com and hit the little link there that says the candidates. That you're not satisfied with having Guam's economy be so solely dependent on a single source revenue stream. Obviously, that's tourism. Right. So what industries specifically, right? I want specific answers. What industries and products do you think could be more of a sustainable export good for us?
So the thing is that when we're looking at an economy in general, we got to look at the environment in which we're operating in. And the way I'm looking at it is that I'm looking more towards service-based goods, because aside from tourism has served as a fantastic base for our economy, but I'm thinking that we could take advantage of opportunities, e.g. call centers or things of that nature, and brand it specifically, because as an island economy, we have to be specific about how we're branding it, because we don't have the natural resources that other nations have that we can really strengthen on things such as manufacturing. Because manufacturing is often brought up, it's a great concept, but to manufacture, do we have the product that we need to manufacture? Is there a demand in the marketplace for it? If there is, can we supply it? And if we are able to supply it, are we able to supply it at a competitive price point? But these are things that I think that we can move towards eventually, but I think we need to focus more on subsectors and sectors within service-based industries, like I just mentioned, just a specific example, to move forward in that direction.
So like call centers, international tech support,
right,
crisis management,
but
things
brand
of this
it
nature.
more like as a US-based call center, because
Right.
that's something that we could use to keep it within our systems.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well done. Ken Leon Guerrero, your second question. You've obviously been a long-standing critic of the legislature. So if you are elected, how do you think you will now get along and coexist with the very people that you've been trying to hold to a higher standard and really calling them out on what you feel are slights?
Well, what I'm looking at my time in the legislature, if I'm fortunate to get in, is to take the level of community advocacy from the hearing room into the Senate floor. Because on the hearing room, politicians can ignore me, and they often do. But in the hearing room, they'll have no choice but to listen to what we have to say, and that way I will be able to make sure that the public's voice is heard in the room that it matters most. Now, how well will I get along with senators? It will depend on the issues, because there's two types of people that are running for office right now. There are those that have a public service mindset, and a lot of the new people have that. And then there are those who are professional politicians. Professional politicians probably won't like me. In fact, I can tell you right now, most of them don't like me. So that's why I'm glad to see so many new people running with a public service mindset.
Okay, very well. All right, Alex, your final question. You also indicate on the bio that you put on our website that you see agriculture being a huge industry and having a lot of potential, scaling that up at a level that we currently don't manage. How do we commercialize farming, agriculture, crop production, things like that? And how do we actually make that sector much more of a reliable entity for our economy more than it is right now?
So thank you for answering. That's actually something that's near and dear to my heart, coming from a family of farmers. My family is originally from Inarajan, and we come from a very strong farming base.
So teachers, farmers, and an accountant slash economist.
We're going
Impressive.
all over the place. Yeah, right. But with the farming specifically, when we're talking about it, is we need to create an environment that's conducive to be able to incentivize people to farm. If we want to take an effort to commercialize this, to be able to grow it, we need to be able to give the farmers the subsidies, the grants. We got to create a hospitable environment through governmental policy that allows them to be able to grow this industry for exports. So when I'm talking about neighboring islands, I'm talking about taking our crops and being able to send it to other islands. Is it going to create an industry within a year? No. Or even to sending it to other neighboring nations for our specialized products. But we need to start now. We need to take an active role in being able to make this environment hospitable to grow this specific sector. So that's what I plan on doing if I'm elected to office.
Okay, have you had an audience, let me ask you, Alex, with farmers and with fishermen and with, you know, maybe even people that don't necessarily plant the seeds and harvest the crops and everything like that, but they're always at, you know, like at the farmers market and everything like that. Have you dialogued with that community, and you know, what's some of the feedback that you've gotten?
I have talked to a few of them, and the thing that specifically comes into mind is the cost of farming. A lot of the times they have to front load the cost to be able to get to the harvest eventually. So that's a lot of money that goes into the fertilizer. That's money that goes into the feed. Let's go say if we're talking about specifically livestock. And for a lot of farmers, they would like to expand it, but there's just such a high upfront cost that they are not able to scale it to the ability in which they would like to scale it to. So that's why I was thinking that we can go through governmental policy, be able to create an environment in which these farmers will be able to expand. We can expand labor forces within the farming community, because that's something that's cited frequently, that they would love to be able to do more, but they just don't have the hands to be able to do it. So that's what my platform is specifically when it comes to agriculture.
Okay. All right, very well done, very impressive. And Ken Leon Guerrero, sir, your final question. You've been known to have a voice, and a voice for certainly many people out there who feel as you do, of trying to hold elected leaders, you know, like as you say, like accountable, calling them on things that you don't feel are like up to par. I'm going to ask you to maybe see things from the optimist point of view. I'm not sure if that's too out of character, but is there anything that you believe that the legislature and administration, so it's kind of a two-part thing, is there anything that those two bodies are doing right?
Well, if you've been following
I'm working on my curveball
posts
here,
and stuff like that,
All-Star game's coming up.
I'll say, you know, that a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's
so
very true.
There are very, very few things that this legislature has done that benefit the people in a huge way. There's very few things that this administration has done that have benefited the majority of the people in a huge way. But I would like to pivot from that to something that he said that is so important. We need to grow more of our own food for health reasons. For those of you who've been following me for years, you know I've dropped 128 pounds. But the problem is...
I was going to say, you look really, really fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
You put in the work.
Yeah, the thing is that our island is sick. Our population is sick. We have 3 times the diabetes rate that the United States has. We have 4 times the hypertension rate. We have 3 times the cancer rate. And a lot of these things are traced back to diet. We need to grow more of our own food locally, because good food is how we dramatically change those numbers. And that's a whole show in and of itself.
So what are the things that you said the legislature and administration are doing right?
Let's see. What did the administration do right?
You gotta pass out a couple flowers here, Ken.
I got to pass out. Okay, I think
Not pass out flowers.
I think the first 90 days of the pandemic, I give the administration credit for doing what they did for the first 90 days while we were trying to figure this out, while we were trying to learn what was happening around the world and to our island. I think the governor did the first 90 days right. What did the legislature do right? Oh, gee, that's a tough one. I can't think of anything that the legislature has done that has really had a major benefit. I mean, I could spend a whole show on the things that they should have done but didn't do. But that's not the question you asked.
So is your approach, if you can't beat him, join him?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
We need more public-minded people in office. You may have noticed since 2016, I've been trying to get new faces in the legislature. That's why we're running the initiatives.
There you go.
Because only with these initiatives, changing the electoral process, will we make it easier for new faces to get into the legislature.
Okay, so we got a couple more minutes, guys, and I want to give both of you maybe a chance to talk about your ambitions, if indeed elected. So I'd like to ask both of you gentlemen, if your respective parties take the majority and you will sit as respective chairmen of particular committees and everything like that, Alexander Duenas, what committee do you want to chair?
I want to be able to chair I want to be able to chair things such as education. I want to be able to work with our young people. I want to be able to work with our future generation. That's, like I said, near and dear to me. Appropriations is also one thing I'd either like to chair or vice chair, one of those things, because that's the accountant part of me, where I want to be able to see where the funds are going to be able to go, where it can have the greatest and most meaningful impact. So that all relates to everything in which I'm talking about, that we can be able to create those grants, create those subsidies, so we'll be able to have programs in which it would be able to have the greatest and most meaningful impact.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Have you talked to Vice Speaker Tinley Nelson about like some of the education issues? Or?
You know, I haven't had to the opportunity yet, but I'm absolutely would love to do that, and we'll probably make an effort to do that.
I'm sure. I'm sure she will give you an audience on that. So best of luck. And Ken Leon Guerrero, if you had your choice of committees, which does Ken Leon Guerrero sit on, and which does he chair? I should say.
He chairs the Committee on Health, because I have been a member of the Non-Communicable Disease Consortium here in Guam and the Guam Diabetes Care Coalition, and helped start Diabetes Foundation of Guam, because my entire my senior generation all died of diabetes and complications of diabetes. Every family on this island is afflicted by diabetes and many other NCDs. And as a member of the NCD, I saw great people come up with great ideas, and they run into the brick wall of government. Government has done more to destroy the health and healthcare systems of this island than I could go on for hours about. And if you follow me in the media, you know I've been talking about this for about 15 years.
All you got to do is Google Citizens for Public Accountability. You'll find Mr. Leon Guerrero and his work. So
yeah.
Okay, guys, how much time do we have in the back? Okay, so unfortunately that is all the time we have, but Alexander Duenas and Ken Leon Guerrero, we wish you both the very best of luck heading on the campaign trail. We'll see you again undoubtedly, but congratulations once again and best of luck to the both of you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank
all right,
you.
Well done, gentlemen. Please stay tuned. The Hotspot is coming back right after this.